Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the PB Quarren series that we've been hosting at Professional Beauty India. So I think we're in week 11 or 12 already of our digital series where we've been developing content for the community across South Asia, bringing artists, educators, and the fraternity together during the kind of lockdown phase that we're in. This week, our theme for the week is nails, and that's a real kind of small but growing segment within the Indian community, and salons are kind of getting to a real understanding of how to incorporate nails as a business service within their salons. So this week is really going to be talking about, we've got a bit on tech, on art, and also today we're really lucky to have Sonette van Rensburg, who was for those of you that used to compete in our nail competitions a couple of years ago, she was our judge that we brought over from South Africa. A super educator, has worked with us in South Africa office, as well with the South Africa team for a number of years. An expert, I think for more than 15 years, Sonette. How long have you been?
Actually, I've been in the industry for just over 30 years now.
Oh my God, okay, completely wrong number. So a long time as an expert. Yeah, well, you do look, you look younger than I do. So. But we're really glad to have her on board and really talking about nail safety. So I know salons have opened up across the country, some nail bars have, but what we wanted to do was bring an international expert to talk about health and safety with regards to nail techs. In particular, because there are some nuances that technicians should be aware of and take into serious consideration during this phase where we're really trying to rebuild confidence with customers that we're running safe salons and safe nail bars. So Sonette, glad to have you on board. Thank you for taking time out to be with us.
Thank you, Vic.
Really, sorry, cut you off.
No, thank you for having me. It's really a privilege to be with you guys again. I think I was there, about 2 years ago, just over 2 years ago?
Yeah, time flies. I think 18, so about September 2018.
There we go.
Yeah. So really, we want to just spend, about half an hour or so talking about, your advice to the nail fraternity here with regards to kind of health and safety procedures, because most of them have understood or they've had a lot of guidelines with regards to social distancing, PPE kits, health and safety from a salon specific point of view. But I think it'd be good to also talk a bit more about nail techs in particular and the kind of procedures that they should be aware of when treating customers.
Absolutely. I think this whole COVID thing has definitely changed and turned our lives, as we know, completely upside down. And in fact, it was quite a necessary wake-up call for our industry, and has made everyone a lot more aware and vigilant about their own personal safety, as well as the safety of others and clients in the salon environment. So I think, it's really kind of just given us a shake up as to what we should be doing in the salon environment. And as you said, a lot of the things that people are doing in the beauty industry across the board with regards to beauty, hair, nails, there's a lot of things that are in place that sort of apply to everybody, as you said, with regards to the social distancing and things like that. But there are definitely some more specific things that our nail techs could be doing with regards to following safety procedures. I think a lot of the hygiene and safety that salons should be following are things that they should have been following before this. It's quite sort of scary that it took COVID to kind of say, hey guys, get your act into gear and really make sure that you're a lot more diligent. There are a lot of people, I'm sure, that were already practicing these procedures and protocols, but I think this kind of just made everyone that much more aware of what they should be doing,
Yeah, that's a really good point, because I know when we've spoken to kind of veterans in the industry, here who have been working with international organizations, like CIBCAC and VTCT and Tedesco and City and Guild and all that. For them, they really just say, what's the big fuss really? Because most of what we need to do from a health and safety point of view are in the guidelines. And if you've been following the guidelines of these kind of international accreditation, and you would be doing most of the stuff, with regards to wearing masks, washing your hands regularly, etc. And the only kind of new bit, the major kind of adjustment is the social distancing, with regards to having 2 meters, etc. But a lot of the health and safety stuff we should have been doing already. So I think I know here in the India market that has been a wake-up call, and a lot of salon owners and technicians, etc., saying, okay, this will be finally a kind of game changer when it comes to health and safety. And I think that's something we're not going to regress from, after this phase is over, and that we'll suddenly have a massive paradigm shift when it comes to health and safety here, which has been a long time coming, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the most important thing as well is for people not to become complacent once they get back working and they get into a routine, is to make sure that once they put all these things in place, is to actually follow through with them and continue and maintain that standard. I mean, it's the standard that our industry should be practicing anyway, and it's a standard that clients should be expecting from people in our industry. So, it's something that really needs to be sustainable, and it needs to continue on an ongoing basis. I can't stress that enough.
Yeah, and I know, obviously, you've just got the green signal to open up, since the weekend just gone. So what are the kind of measures that you're putting in place, with your own kind of, academy and, nail salon?
Well, yes, we got the green light on Friday evening. I think it was a long time coming. It was a bit of a shock. I think we'd been waiting all week for news to open, because we kept on having these sort of promises that this is going to happen and that's going to happen, and it wasn't. And then suddenly on Friday, in the morning, we were told, okay, by later today, the protocols will come out and we'll hear news. And we kind of went, oh, yeah, right, whatever. And suddenly, I think it was at about 5:30, everybody, it was just, Facebook was alive, WhatsApps were going, phones were going. And suddenly the news came through that we could actually open. And suddenly people were scrambling around, like, well, what should I do? PPE, where can I get this? Where can I get that? So some people had prepared already. Some people hadn't. So, we were told they could open immediately. So people could literally go in Saturday morning and start and open up their businesses. Wow. if they were ready to do so. And that is the most important thing, is if they were ready and whether they were compliant. And the most important thing is that the government has set out procedures and measures and protocols that need to be followed with regards to making sure that these safety processes and procedures are followed through to ensure that they do not spread the virus any further. So, those are all very important, and they need to adhere to that. And that's why this whole thing about being compliant and making sure you're following through with everything. So that was really, really important. So that's what a lot of people are busy doing right now, is making sure that they are putting those procedures in place to be compliant with the government's requirements and things like that.
Okay. What are you doing with regards to the nail business? And I can see the background, you got eyelashes as well. So with regards to specifically getting health and safety compliant, from a nail point of view, What are the kind of things you're having to specifically figure out, and deal with?
Well, the most important thing is making sure that everybody actually understands, and I think that they need to know what it is that they have to be doing in their salons. We making sure risk assessments are really, really important. That means identifying the risks within the salon and areas where there is, how can I say, high touch areas, a lot of close contact with people, making sure those areas are identified so that some solutions can be put in place to minimize the risks, in contact with people. As you know, this is a very close contact touch industry. So we can't apply social distancing in the salon with regards to doing treatments, because you are hands-on with your clients at all times, especially when doing nails, manicures, pedicures. You're touching your clients all the time. So, it's really, really important to make sure that there are measures put in place for that. One of the most important things, and I'm sure they stress it there all the time, is the washing of hands. Hand washing is your best defense. Soap and water, it's a mechanical process to make sure you are removing and you are reducing the number of disease-causing pathogens on your hands or on a surface. So that is really vitally important, and making sure your work surface, your nail stations, are always clean, washed clean, and then disinfected. So there's a big difference, and seems to be a little bit of a misunderstanding with regards to sanitization and disinfection. So a lot of people think if you just spray a sanitizer on your table, that's enough. Or if you just use a sanitizer on your hands, that's enough. But it isn't. At the end of the day, soap and water, wash your hands. It breaks down the bacteria and the viruses that are on your hands, and it reduces them greatly. And then washing all surfaces down. And then after that, to actually sanitize your hands with a hand sanitizer, and then to disinfect all your surfaces. With regards to equipment, your cuticle pushers, cuticle nippers, anything that is used on the client to perform a treatment with, needs to be washed and cleansed. I stress that greatly. Sanitization is washing and cleansing. So wash and cleanse everything, and then disinfect. Disinfect either by soaking it in a EPA hospital grade disinfectant like Barbicide. I know that they use Barbicide, it's worldwide used, so and available. So it's one of the best disinfectants that there are on the market. So soak implements in there. Also make sure that nail techs have got more than one set of implements to work with. So they shouldn't just have one set, because they need to make sure that they are doing that process of sanitization and disinfection in between each and every client. That is their work surface, their implements, and everything that comes into contact with themselves as well as their clients. And there's a certain amount of contact time that your implements, your hard surfaces, need to be in contact with the disinfectant for it to be able to work. If not, it's not going to be effective. So they need to make sure they leave enough time between clients to allow for the sanitation and disinfection process, as well as to rotate their implements, their towels, or anything that they're working with. So that's really important.
I was going to say that. What kind of turnaround time are you looking at factoring in, for example, your own sort of nail bar between customers? Because it sounds like it's going to be quite a process to disinfect, sanitize, and then also clean your equipment for the next use. So how much time do you think you need for that turnaround now?
I would recommend at least say, I think you need to time yourself and see how long is it going to take you to carry out a proper procedure to make sure that everything is clean in between your clients. So, anything between 15 to 20 minutes, possibly. Also to make sure that there's not a crossover between clients. Once you've finished with the client, that she is actually out of the salon before your next client arrives, so that there isn't, that too much of a close contact. So, with regard to social distancing between you and a client, isn't that possible? But between clients it is. So you need to make sure you rotate it properly. The other thing that can save time is to make sure you've got more than one set of implements to work with. So you have a couple of sets, and each nail tech should be responsible for their own sets of implements. So rotate those implements. Have, say, 5 packs of implements already packed into medi packs that have been sanitized and disinfected. And then once they've finished with the client, that will be put aside, ready for cleaning, and then the next pack will be taken out. So that can save a little bit of time there, to make sure that all you're then doing is just cleaning your surfaces, changing your towels, and things like that.
Yeah. Do you think you have to almost get extra staff in to do all the kind of cleaning of the instruments as well?
Well, not really, because they're telling you to limit your staff as well in your salon. So, they're saying make sure there aren't too many people in the salon at one time, in the same space. So if you've got a bigger salon, then that's okay. But if you've got a small salon, home-based salon, or a small, tiny little place, it's not going to work that well. So you need to be very, very organized. As I said, in a bigger space, you can do that. You can have someone that will be purely concentrating and focusing on cleaning, of their items and things like that.
Cool. And then with regards to the instruments in particular, so obviously it's a great recommendation you should have 2 kits now available, so that you've got one kit that you'll if it's depending on the affordability really for
absolutely.
But you definitely need at least 2. So one you're using, the other one you've got to clean before you can get back to servicing the customer. But are there any nail tools that now become redundant because because of this kind of in essence, like do we have to move to some of them being more disposable items because of this kind of environment we're now in?
Absolutely. You need to remember that disinfectants only work on hard surfaces. So you can't disinfect a file because it's porous. The same as what you can't disinfect your body. So disinfectants shouldn't touch your skin. Clients shouldn't be sprayed with disinfectants either. So files being porous, or any other items that are porous, should be discarded and thrown away. However, that can be quite a costly exercise. I mean, one file can cost you up to, for us, it's talking in rands, 20 rand, even more for a really good file. It depends on the type of files you're using and the quality of your files. So that can become a huge expense. As it is, you're spending so much more on sanitizing, sanitizers, disinfectants, things like that. So your costs are going up continuously with the wearing of masks as well, gloves, and all other PPE equipment. So to still throw away a file and add that onto your costs really just starts adding up. So the best thing to suggest there would be replaceable grit files. That means that you actually have a handle as such, a hard handle. Some companies actually produce files like that, and then the grit can actually be removed and pulled off, and then you can sanitize and disinfect the handle of the file, and then just replace the grit to the file.
Okay.
Yeah.
And have you managed to find good brands that do that as well, where you are?
The one brand that does it is Back Scratchers. They do the replaceable grit files. And then we have a company here as well that does the same thing with foot files. That is a company called Salon Solutions. So they've got a foot file, which is just an actual, the base, and then the grit gets replaced onto the file on either side, and then it gets discarded after the client cleaned, disinfected, and a new one put on. Alternatively, if there isn't that available, you can actually create packs for your clients. So you create a pack of files that will be used either in a manicure or a set of nail enhancements, be it a file and a buffer, and maybe a foot file for pedicures. And then the client purchases that pack, and that pack becomes hers.
Okay.
And it only gets used on that client. So that is, you know, what we call a custom pack or custom abrasive pack, specifically for that client. I mean, we started doing something like that many years ago, but that kind of went out the window. And it's good because now, you know, it's something that can come back, and it's something we can start actually practicing again, because it's actually a very, very good safety practice and protocol.
Yeah. So are you setting yourself up to then give these personalized kits to customers, you know, when you open up? Is that one of the ideas you're working on already?
Yes, absolutely. As well as a lot of, you know, I work with a lot of colleges as well. So the colleges also have to start instilling that into their students as well. So these are things that are being taught across the board now as part of the education, you know, with regards to nail education as well, which is really, really important. So that's also starting to change, and a lot more is coming into the training and the educating of prospective nail techs.
And then do you think you're going to be able to then charge the customer extra for their kind of personalized pack at the end of the service?
Yes, well, you should, otherwise it's going to cost you. You know, it just depends. If you're willing to absorb that cost, you know, fine. But I don't think a lot of people can afford to do that. Not if you're seeing quite a couple of clients in a day. So, you know, to educate your clients as well and tell them, you know, these are the options. This is what is available. And, you know, would you like to purchase a pack? And I'm sure a lot of clients are going to actually agree, because right now a lot of people are concerned about their safety. So I think they will take that quite seriously, and they'll want to do that, you know. So
I mean, another great tip actually. But and then any other instruments that, you know, you have to kind of change the way you're using it now? So obviously you talk about the nail grip and interchangeable files, but any other kind of tools that nail techs now have to figure out that, you know what, that doesn't work in today's environment?
Well, it's mainly just the implements which we've already talked about, which you can disinfect, and then the nail files and foot files. The other things are really more things that nail techs can do within the salon. I'm not sure if they're doing it there, but here they are putting up what they call sneeze screens or protective guard screens on the nail station tables. Yeah,
we're seeing that now. So it's very quickly seen brands launching from scratch that whole protective screen. So, you know, we've you know, which wasn't there before, but we've now we've seen brands take advantage and come up with solutions to help the nail tech side recover, because otherwise that was a big barrier between, you know, working between the nail tech and the customer.
Yeah. Those, you know, those have their place as well. They're not going to be your only protection. I think some people thought that, well, if I've got a sneeze screen in, or I've got the protective guard screen, they're safe. But I think it's going to give you, the same as gloves, a bit of a false sense of security and safety. So it's important to know that even though you've got the screens, you still need to wear a mask. You still need to follow through with all the necessary safety protocols, you know, to prevent that cross-contamination and that cross-infection. Because basically all that screen is doing is protecting, you know, the nail tech and the client from possibly coughing or sneezing or droplets. As we know, the virus is spread through droplets in a space of up to 6 feet. So that is what the sneeze screen is really doing. So without, you know, your masks, you're not 100% protected if you're only going to use those. So you need to make sure that everything else is being used and done as well. The thing is with these screens is they are dust magnets. And nail techs produce a lot of dust. We work with, you know, acrylic powders and small dust particles. And those dust particles fly up in the air and they attach themselves to anything because they're so fine and tiny. The thing is that the virus can actually catch a ride on the dust particles because they don't have wings to fly. So they need to travel somehow. So they can actually travel and hitch a ride on the dust particles and go and settle on your screen. So the important thing is to make sure that those screens are wiped and cleaned regularly between each and every single client.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's another great tip as well, actually, because you, like you said, it can give you a full sense of security, and you may not always be able to visually see that, oh, it's, you know, that dusty so quickly, and you kind of think, that's fine, the screen's there, my mask is on, and like you said, it gives you that full sense of security. So I think that's a really valuable tip, you know, for nail techs as well, and even for customers to understand that, you know, that when they're going in, they should be asking the question or be aware that, you know, is that screen also, you know, being sanitized as well as, or cleaned, as well as the tools that are being used.
I think, you know, educating the clients is also very important, the communication and that education between client and nail technician or client and therapist is going to be really important over this time to make them understand what it is that you are doing to ensure their safety, as well as, you know, to help you. I mean, they're going to have to partner with you to make sure that they follow through on certain processes and things that are expected of them with regards to, you know, making appointments ahead of time, conducting consultations either verbally, over email, or even virtually. So that also helps to save time as well, so that there's not too much contact or too much congestion in a reception area with clients filling out consultation forms or consulting with the receptionist or anything like that. So that is also something that can help us a lot, also with regards to time management.
Yeah, yeah, and there is a lot of work that needs to be done with a customer in advance of coming into the salon. So we've seen that in India as well, that the salons have already got into the virtual consultation mode to, like you said, to minimize the time that customers spend in the salon, floating around, chatting to the staff, you know, and safety for both sides, staff and clients. So a lot of virtual consultations, you know, have kicked in as a trend over here.
That's good.
So, you know, and talking more about the customer, because you said one, also we're talking about what you can do before they enter the salon, and also you say, you know, that idea about they could have their own personalized kit they can take home. But some of us, you know, some clients will be doing stuff at home as well, because, you know, they just want to, whether it's, you know, looking after their skin or nails, or, you know, DIY haircuts and that. I've not given into that. I wanted to cut my hair at home. Jane in London was like, you are not allowed to do that. If you do anything bad to your hair, you can't represent the Hairdressers Journal. So I fully did cutting my hair. I know I need it. So I've avoided doing the DIY horror show at home. But what kind of tips can you give to customers at home with regards to, you know, looking after their nails and any corrective measures? Because it's been a while for them.
Yeah. Look, I think the tips that you know, I'll be giving is really tips to our nail techs, because our nail techs can actually hone in on this situation. This is a great time to be communicating with the clients, retailing to them as well. I don't know if you're allowed to retail, but we were allowed to retail from level 4. We were allowed to retail to clients. So, you know, what we did was put together little retail packs for our clients to take care of their nails, and then consult with them and actually guide them as to what they should be doing and what they need to do. With all the hand sanitizers that we're using, as we know, they've got quite a high content of alcohol. So they're very drying and very dehydrating to your skin. Yeah. So now more than ever, they should be taking care of their skin. and making sure that they are hydrating as well. So to put together a little pack of, maybe a hand wash, a sanitizer, a hand lotion, as well as a nail file, those are great. Your clients will absolutely welcome them so much, because then they can take care of them. And then along with your guidance as well, is going to really, make them think that, or know that you actually care about them. Those clients are then going to definitely be coming back to you afterwards. One thing you need to remember, as a professional in the industry, even guiding your client to do a little mini manicure at home on themselves is not going to take away from you, because no one can do that manicure the same as the professional can, the client at home, at least.
Yeah.
So, they will want to return to you to have that professional service done. So by helping them is just going to enforce your loyalty to them, and it's just going to make sure that they come back. And you keeping them happy, you keeping their nails in a good condition, their skin in a good condition. And yeah, that's going to make them happy clients.
Yeah, and I think, again, great tips, because sometimes you can be worried about if you give your clients too many tips to do stuff at home, or they come back. And we've started to see here, because the trend of clients coming back for repeat services has been quite slow since we've opened up. Different parts of the country have been opened up longer. Like Goa's been about 6 weeks now. Bangalore, it's 5 weeks. Delhi's been a few weeks. But that data about repeat customers has been not great so far. So obviously there's a lot of home servicing going on and home treatments. But I think, and then we've seen some of the hair brands, for example, putting together color kits, DIY color kits, and putting together videos to say, this is how you would mix the colors and treat yourself at home while you can't come back to the salon that often. But like you said, it's all about, they're thinking about the bigger picture of how do we look after our customer, and not worried about how do we lose our customer in the short term, but, and the customers being much more appreciative that they're working in a salon, or they're working with a salon and technicians that really care about them.
Absolutely. No, it works. It really does. We've seen it here. We've seen people doing it. So it's worked for them. And now that they're back, those clients are WhatsApping like crazy. They're wanting to get into that salon and have that service done. They're wanting a little bit of nail art done, because that's not something
That's amazing.
they do themselves. The other thing that a lot of nail techs started doing, and I mean, we did it years ago, was press-on nails. So they actually design a custom set of nails for their clients. The client measures up their nails. So the nail tech explains to them, this is what you need to do. This is how you measure your nail bed length and width. And you give me the measurements, you tell me what designs you would like and what colors you would like. And then the nail tech sits, and she has been designing a full set of tips for the client with nail art and everything. And I mean, we've seen some phenomenal and beautiful work that's been done. And then to top it, they've taken it a step further, and they've created these beautiful presentation boxes to put the press-on tips into. So they put the tips into a little box, send it off to the client with a nail file and an adhesive or glue. And the client gets her little box, and she pops them on with instructions from the nail tech. She pops them onto her nails, and voila, she's got a beautiful set of nails to keep her going during lockdown.
Wow, that is a great idea. That's really bringing innovation to the core, during these tough times. If you've got any images of that, do send them over. I'd love to put them on our handles and that.
I will gladly share that with you.
Yeah, because we've not seen that thing here yet.
Yeah. Now, I think it's been a great innovative time. I mean, nail techs have even designed and made jewelry with nail products.
Okay. So, what, as in nail jewelry? You're talking about nail jewelry, right? Or just general jewelry?
No, jewelry, like actual rings, beautiful rings.
Wow.
They've made beautiful rings with nail enhancement products, which is phenomenal. They've made some beautiful stuff. There's some courses out there as well that you can do on that. So something
Okay,
different.
brilliant. Yes. And I mean, we're just getting to the close now. So when are you looking to open up?
Well, like I said, we've started, you know, I've been writing and putting together some checklists and some protocols to assist the people in our industry. So, you know, I'm more involved on the training side. So that's what I do. That's my thing, you know, is to help people to make sure that they are, you know, following the proper procedures and just helping them to get ready to, you know, to conduct safe working processes and procedures and services for their clients.
Yeah, and it is right now. I think all the guidance people can get, because it can get confusing. There's so much information coming out. So having, you know, experts like yourself just say, look, this is what you worry about. Some of it is a bit over the top, and this is what you've got to focus on, you know, and to simplify it for people, because I think that's really important, because, you know, the big chains can understand and worry about that, and but it's the smaller ones, for them it can be quite confusing actually.
Yeah, and they can get lost in all the information, because as you said, like, there's so much information out there, and I think you can get yourself completely, you know, overwhelmed as well with all of this. I think this has been a very challenging and very trying time, as it is for everybody. You know, trying to survive without an income, things like that has been really, really difficult for our industry. So getting back is to try and get back to work with as little stress as possible, but still making sure that you are safe and that you are keeping your clients safe at the same time as well, you know. I think a lot of self-care, support, motivation, you know, with your colleagues and with each other, with your clients, is really, really important at a time like this as well.
Yeah, brilliant. I think that's a great note to wrap up on. So I want to thank you again for your time, and, you know, always been hospitable about sharing your thoughts and expertise with our audience. And just all the best as well for all the kind of community you're working with in South Africa.
Thank you so much, Vic. It's been an absolute pleasure to be with you guys again and share some information. And I hope it's been useful, and that, you know, techs can take some of the things that I've spoken about and go and apply it to their businesses. And I think the most important message I can just give them is, don't give up. I know there's days where you just think, I can't do this anymore and it's enough already. I think we've all had days like that, but I think just persevere and don't become complacent. Just, you know, carry on, press on, and do the best you possibly can, because if this is your passion, then just keep on, you know, doing what you love and what you can.
Super. All right. Thanks, Sonette.
Thank you so much, Vic.
All right. Cheers. Bye.
Bye.